I don't know, if you really want to quit smoking, maybe like go to a cabin at Joshua Tree for a few days and just don't smoke. Welcome to the Film Threat Podcast. I am Chris Gore. I am a fan of indie films. I know you already know that. And there are some indie film classics that I think you need to know about. A film called Quit, which is now on Amazon Prime. It's part of your Prime subscription, which I heard a weird statistic. More people have Prime than vote in US elections. Isn't that crazy? That's nuts. But that also means that you can see Quit. And I have the director here. Dick Rude is joining me today. Dick, good to meet you. I appreciate it. I really enjoyed your film.
Thank you, Chris. And it's a pleasure to be here. I'm honored to be on your show.
Oh, well, thank you. It's to me, this is like an old school indie movie where it's two people in a room talking and there's so much drama. And I have to compliment you on this cast. Your two leads are just very, there's a chemistry between them.
Yeah, they definitely nailed it.
I mean, if you're asking, it looks like that they're maybe in a real relationship. It just felt a little too real to me. And the sort of roller coaster ride of the relationship is actually exacerbated by they're going to quit smoking. They're going away to this cabin to quit. And it ends up being a different kind of film than what you would expect. Tell me exactly, how did this project get started?
Well, I really was focused on the idea of the battle of the sexes and this sort of up and down and addictive quality to relationships, and how we can love so hard and be so hurt at the same time. And I started thinking about that in terms of other things in life, whether it was smoking or working out or working too hard, anything that someone does in excess that feels good when you achieve and also feels horrible when you catch yourself and go, wait a minute, my life is just passing me by because I'm obsessive about this thing that is not healthy. So you're right about the sort of drama of this couple being locked away together in the desert. And I had a lot of fear about that in writing the script. I really didn't want to hear two people talking for an hour and a half. And so I really tried to liven that up with some wonderful cameos and a little bit of shtick and a lot of hooks and just the drama that really was a natural part of putting people in that kind of environment. The desert is such a dangerous place. It's such a beautiful place, and I feel like the same could be said about a relationship.
100%. And I love this sort of weird, there's a couple of like moments of just weirdness. I mean this in a good way. And there's a reference to the Peanuts in a place that you would not expect, which I thought was inspired and bizarre. And I recognized it immediately. There's a music cue that's reminiscent of what's the composer's name? Is it Vince Guaraldi? Like,
correct.
Yeah. That I quite enjoyed that moment. It was a very fanciful moment in the midst of all the drama. I will say you picked like really two attractive actors. It's just, I feel like Hollywood doesn't know how to make romantic movies anymore. And I found, as much as there's a lot of drama in this, and there's a lot of, because that, I feel like that's more real, right? Like if Hollywood was really honest and made a romance that was honest, it would be more like Quit, in the sense that like, yeah, it ain't all perfect. There's like people like, and fights sometimes are over nothing, right?
Yeah.
It's I felt that's what really drew me in, is the realness of this. And it's just nice to see a romance with a heterosexual couple just having problems.
Yeah.
So tell me what the reaction has been to the movie and how people have responded. And now that it's getting, I guess the cut that's on Amazon is a director's cut, my understanding.
That's correct. Yeah. I'm getting some echo here. I don't know if that's from me or you. Is that better?
It's better. It's better. Yeah. But tell me about that.
The reaction has been the same from the get-go. As soon as I wrote the script and I started casting the film, I would have actors come into the room, read the lines, and then afterwards look at me and say, were you in the room when I was having this fight with my, boyfriend or girlfriend? People really relate to this, the dialogue and the situational anxiety and the passion that is involved in having a relationship. And so I think now, even after the film is done, some of the comments that I'm getting from the viewers is that they felt very moved by it in a powerful sort of anxiety type of way, but also in a beautiful way. And there's there's a lot of laughter and a lot of cringing that people are getting out of this. And I've had several people tell me, I need to watch it again because it was just so rich in that sense, where I feel like there's more to decipher out of this.
I felt the same way. I felt a little relationship PTSD.
Yeah.
In a sense, because at least the way Hollywood portrays romance, and I think indie film exemplified by Quit, I think is just so much more realistic in terms of the types of problems. Sometimes the problems are not so like simple. They're below the surface, not to mention the challenge of trying to quit smoking, which I've thankfully never had to deal with that. Tell me how people have responded to that. And I have had friends who have struggled with quitting smoking for years. And I think it's the number one thing you can do for your health. If you do nothing but not smoke, you're actually off to a good start. But tell me a little bit about the smoking aspect of the film. And is that something that it clearly has to be something that you must have struggled with because it was way too real.
Well, the idea of sequestering oneself to not be able to do something is not a new idea. And I don't know if it works or not. I think, again, this being a metaphor for the relationship, somebody really needs to want to let go of the thing that's causing them both the pleasure and pain. Specifically to the point of quitting smoking, what I tried to show is how difficult that is physically and mentally. There are scenes where they're lying to each other about it, where they've discussed what tools they're going to use, and each one has a different take on how that should be done. And, everyone has a different approach. I don't know what works. I don't know what doesn't work. I just know that a lot comes up, and it can be very surreal at times. And I tried to portray that in the behavior of these two people as the days went on. I think that's why I did the timestamps as well, so that you could just see the sort of surreal anxiety and insanity that builds after the days of withdrawing from these drugs and then ultimately replacing them, with other types of stimulus.
I feel like obviously smoking is about some form of addiction, but I think it could be argued that a relationship can be an addiction.
Yes.
I think that you really cover that well in the film. This couple, there's scenes where I'm like, why are they together? And I'm like, oh, I've been in that situation.
Yeah.
Right. I've been in that. Can you elaborate on that a little bit? Like, there's maybe types of relationships that are unhealthy addictions.
Well, definitely, most definitely. So a lot of the response that I'm also getting from people is that was my relationship, and I'm still in it. Or how do you get out of that? And I'm not a professional at any of this. I don't know anything about it. I just know what my own experiences were, and I tried to put together a story that really portrayed the kind of extremes of pain and passion, having been through those types of relationship, feeling blessed that I've been through those relationships. There's definitely a high measure of romance to that, and a high, I don't know if you can equate the amount of crying to the amount of love, or the amount of pleasure to the amount of pain. But it certainly seems that kind of dramatic, obsessive, addictive relationship, especially when one is young, it can be a benchmark and a learning experience in how to have. I don't want to say that that's an unhealthy relationship, but as one gets older, maybe one needs less of that drama and stimulus. So I think that the age of these characters was appropriate for what they were going through. And I think that, again, we all find ourselves in these situations. Most of us do, but whether it's in a romantic relationship or in a relationship with something else, like, working out or whatever one can be obsessed with, building Legos.
Well, I think you nailed it. This is, yeah. And the ending is so, I don't want to, ruin the ending. The ending is perfect. The ending is that last sort of 10 minutes just plays out so perfectly well. I can't recommend this movie enough. Quit is currently on Amazon Prime. Dick, it's a pleasure. First of all, you have the coolest name of anyone I've ever interviewed.
Yeah, well, I've had it for a while, so it's sticking.
Thanks for talking to me on the Film Threat Podcast. It's a pleasure.
Thank you, Chris, and I'm glad that you enjoyed the film, and thank you for spreading the word about it.